It is November 17th, and we had our first double elimination of Survivor 41 tonight. We are joined by Gary Richardson, Survivor superfan, and occasional jury duty friend. So let's just get into this. This is Jury Duty. All right. So this thing starts off with Deshaun and Shan. Now, what do we think about this whole, like, the drama between the two of them? Because I'm not really sure that, like, Shan is, like, super wrong. Like, everyone just seems to just hate that she's strong-willed, I feel like. Nobody agrees.
I'm on the fence.
Crickets.
Because, like, I totally understand that, like, she's a strong player and she wants to, like, come in and play hard and whatever, but, like, and we're going to get into it later, like, it's going to start to, like, cause a rift between you and the other people that are still in the game. Like, if you're not willing to hear other people out and work with them, no one's going to want to work with you. So it's not setting you up well in a place that, like, you're going to be able to be, like, calling the shots and making the moves, because people aren't going to want you around. They're going to say, you're just a liability. You're not willing to hear anybody else out. Why am I playing this game for somebody else? You know?
Yeah.
Right.
I think that Shan is such a great player. I think that she's very, very, like, a very strong player, and she's made it so far in the game. I do feel like she just needs to sometimes, like, just let things roll. Like, you're not going to be able to have control in every single situation, you know? So now that we see Deshaun and her kind of going at it, and then, you know, even in this episode, because they got separated again, and at one point you heard Erica even saying, like, listen, I'd love to get Shan out, but I hope that the other side could at least take out Liana. Like, it's clear that, like, Shan and her allies are targets for everybody, you know? And then I think she's going a little too far in certain situations with, like, demanding certain things. Like, I keep the extra vote. I'll be the one that casts it, you know?
Okay.
She's definitely going too hard. I can see both sides. I can see how, you know, we could say that Shan's right. We can say that Deshaun's right. But I don't think either one of them are necessarily right. I think it's just that she's going too hard right now. And she's trying to control the game. And when you try to control the game, that's when things turn on you very quickly. And I'm skipping ahead, but we saw that in the preview. We saw a little snippet of that in the preview for the next episode. And that's kind of what I expected this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm actually really excited for next week too. Not that there wasn't exciting things happening, like, tonight, but, like, the preview was really, like, wild.
Yeah.
And I'm just really happy to see Liana crying. Like, I'm really tired of her. And I think it's because now I'm a big time, like, Xander stan. I think it's just because he's been such an underdog the entire time. And, like,
you know, in the very beginning, like, and maybe it's, like, my own preconceived notion, like, whatever, I didn't expect Xander. I just thought he was going to be dumb. Like, the moment this season started, I was like, this is going to be, like, ooh, like, pretty Cali boy that, like, doesn't really understand how things work or whatever. And every episode, he's just, like, exceeding my expectations more and more and more. He's a great player.
I really like him.
He's a great player.
He's great to look at. And we're just winning on, like, a lot of fronts here, honestly. Oh gosh, sorry, I'm trying to go in chronological order here. Here we go. Shan Bossy, Nasir versus Heather. This didn't age well. I wrote "There goes Heather's game." Because of that little exchange between her and Nasir, and her just, like, not owning up to the fact that, like, she was saying, like, let's vote in Nasir, and she said it right in front of him. Like, he didn't have.
I just, like, I loved so much that she called over Evie, like, no, watch Evie. Who did I say to vote for? And she was like, Nasir. It's like, well, I don't know what you thought was going to happen with that. Like,
yes, I don't know why you thought that anybody would be siding with you.
Right.
Yeah, and I said, well, that's the end of Miss Heather.
I don't think you should be too upset with yourself, Kyle, for saying that comment didn't age well, because I also wrote a comment. I said Heather made a big mistake throwing this year's name out.
Yeah.
so don't worry. I was thinking the exact same
so
way
much
you
for
were.
that, huh? So much for that.
Yeah, and I like how Heather tried to be like, throwing a name and writing a name are two different things in this year. Like,
Are they?
it's like, what? Okay.
It's like they are two different things, just in the functionality behind each action. However, the motivation behind it is what's troubling, ma'am. And that is why we are talking about this on today. So silly. I had a side note. When Ricard was going on about being hard of hearing and everything, like I found the zooming in of his ears to be very odd. Did anybody else like catch that? Like we're just zooming in.
I felt uncomfy.
Like
I felt uncomfy when they started like distorting the sound of the episode
Right.
when they were talking about it. I was like, don't do that. Don't do that.
That I felt the exact same way, Gina, because like I started watching the segment. I'm like, oh, this is an interesting thing about Ricard. I didn't realize this. And then immediately like the sound starts chinging. And Kyle, you said like it starts zooming in on his ears. And I'm like, is this necessary?
It
like,
felt icky.
Like this is weird, kind of.
It felt icky. And but I will say the real note I made here was that we're zooming in on people's mouths, right? We're showing these mouths because, like, obviously he's saying that he's reading lips and all this other yada yada yada. These people's teeth are very clean.
Oh, that's right.
Okay, and I know I said this last time, but now I'm really leaning into this, okay? Because you were on this island for 17 days, and like these teeth, I mean, like there's nothing. There's no gunk at all. Okay, go back on the Paramount Plus and like check. Like there's nothing, and like it's just very strange. So like Survivor Superfan, Gary Richardson. Do they give them toothbrushes on the side?
No.
Like what is going on? Like why? And you know, since you're here, let me also ask you this: two questions. Okay. And you can just really go for it. So, what is this toothbrushes? And now we have this well that they're going down and get water from.
Yeah.
What is that? Is that like a new thing? Because the seasons you had me watch, this is not what the case was. Okay, we had people going down the little pots and stuff, and they're boiling the water, trying to make sure there's no bacteria and all this other stuff. And like now, all of a sudden, now we're just walking down with basically a glorified thermos. I don't know. I thought this was supposed to be more dangerous.
So the well is literally just a pit in the ground, and there's quite literally just like a Rubbermaid bin in there filled with water that production goes in and dumps water into. So the water's perfectly safe. Huh. And for a while, they were boiling water because they were like, we still don't trust it, like blah, blah, blah. But after a while, production was like, no, like it's safe. Like we put the water in there ourselves. Like it's not like it's like an actual.
So this well has always been around.
No, I think it's like probably like after the 10th season, they started doing a well. I think once they realized that, like, hey, people don't like to see people thirsty and hungry all the time, and it doesn't make for good TV. So let's give them some food challenges and some water. That's kind of when that changed. But toothbrushes, no, they don't have toothbrushes at all. If you see them, they'll take like palm branches and they'll cut them in half, and you'll see them like literally scraping their teeth with the palm branches to kind of get the plaque off, I guess. But yeah, they don't get anything at all.
Interesting.
The only thing that's provided to them is any like required medicines, and then feminine products, condoms, but yeah, it's just really? Like basically like contact, oh no, okay. Absolutely.
I never thought about that being a factor in this game.
I never thought of that at all. I can't imagine why it would be. I mean, I might be sitting on my couch talking about who's bae, but I'm sure if I get like within 5 feet of you and I get one whiff, I'd be done. So I'm sure it'd be over.
It's happened. It's happened, especially on the earlier seasons. You used to see people sneak off into the woods, and that type of stuff. And
interesting.
I figure if everybody smells the same and you all have the same kind of hunk and gunk, I mean, you might as well get down with the get down. Okay, good for them.
Yeah. What other questions?
I got way more out of that than I thought I was. No, I don't think I have any other questions.
Cool.
Yet.
Right. Yet.
Because I didn't even think of that I could be asking these things. I didn't have questions prepared. But that's all right. When you come back for the finale, we'll get them then. So we split the tribe up, 2 groups of 5. That was fun. 2 teams. I just went with yellow and blue. Sharon, Erica, Heather, Ricard, and Nasir on one side, with Deshaun, Evie, Liana, Xander, and Danny on the other. This one was fun. I feel like I've seen this before, or at least something similar to it.
This looked so painful.
This looked. Well, I don't even know that I would start it because I know that I wouldn't make it. Like, there's no point. Why should I put myself through this?
This, like, did you see? I'm sorry, Gary. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I would be like Big D in the last season of Big Brother. I'd be like, yeah, I lasted like 15 minutes, and they're like, dude, you lasted like a minute and a half. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I did a really great job. I'm really proud of myself.
I just couldn't get over, like, people trying to, like, take control over their bodies again once they were finally off. Like, the way that, like, it seemed like Nasir, like, minutes later, still could not even feel his hand. Like, Xander, like,
he literally couldn't readjust. Like, he just couldn't feel the thing anymore.
Yeah. This was, and then Ricard at one point, they showed, like, his feet right before he fell, and, like, just the part where the wood was, like, cutting into his feet. Like,
the
just
white,
all the circulation just cut off right in that one spot. Like, oh, that looked so painful.
Yeah, it's hard.
I think this challenge only went like an hour, but like Kyle, in the season you watched David versus Goliath, that went like 5 hours and like 5 hours, almost 6 hours.
Yeah. And I really, every time, like, they do that little edit with, like, the fade in and fade out, like, you're never really sure how much time has passed. I know they give us the illusion that it's been hours, and you find that it's only been like 3 minutes. So you weren't really sure what was going on with that one that you're referencing, but it was like 5 or 6 hours. It was so long.
Wow.
And in the sun, I just remember the sun was beating down on them that day too, and how awful they looked. Yeah, really crazy. This competition is sick. I am so happy with the way it ended, though. Okay, I'm not going to sit here and say that I am an Erica stan by any means. However, you know I'm here for the chaos, and everybody wanted her out, so I'm really happy that they could not.
I literally, like, especially when it came down to, I mean, wait, was it the 2 of them? No, it was when it was, who were the last 2? Deshaun and Xander were, like, staying up at, like, for so long. I was rooting for Xander so bad, partially because I like Xander, but partially because I heard you in my head, like, I don't think that's interesting. If Xander was, like, not safe in the easy target, I was like, no, make the 2 easy targets the safe people.
Yes, because it's not interesting. Yeah, so much better. And I did also get a chuckle out of Jeff saying to Erica, like, don't step off yet. You still want to win your stew. And she's like, fuck these bitches. I'm safe. I don't care what y'all eat. I thought it was great. So good. It's so much fun. Yeah. So Erica and Xander walk away with the win. Xander wins the stew. All right. Great. I was putting my own dinner away while the stew was being administered. I didn't even see the stew.
It looked pretty good. It made me want stew, honestly. Like, Xander described it later. When I was watching it, I was like, I want some stew right now.
I came in like the tail end of it, and like somebody was just holding like a chunk of meat, and I was very turned off. like, I don't know. I didn't like the delivery. I didn't look like the piece of meat was far too large. I don't know. I wasn't impressed, but I'm excited to hear that there was, like, you know, potatoes and stuff in there too. I guess that's fun.
Delicious.
Yeah. Hometown fun. So what happened after that? Oh, okay. I said, who the hell does Liana think she is to ask to hold Xander's idol?
Yeah.
Is that not the most nervy and audacious? Is that a word? You know, to act with such audacity. That's what I. That's how I'd like to.
I think you're right.
It was such an audacious.
I think audacious is a word. Yeah.
I'm really proud of myself, by the way, for saying that. But really, really ridiculous. This This is a girl who just tried to steal it, was like so clearly targeting you and your entire game. And now she's saying, in order for me to trust you more, I think you should let me hold your idol. Like,
Yeah, what the hell?
where do you get off? Like, I'm safe. I don't need you to trust me. Like, what? I'm so tired of her. I don't even know what to do.
Yeah.
Nasir and Shan talking Heather. No. Nasir tells Heather, sorry, you're going home.
Right, that was the other thing.
Yeah.
It's like right in front of Heather, Erica sits him down and is like, would you use your idol for Heather? He's like, no, I won't use my idol for Heather. What are you talking about? Like, in what situation was he going to say yes to that question?
I don't know.
You know?
No. What did you think of Nasir even saying that to Heather? Like saying, I'm sorry, like, you're going home. I'm voting for you. It's definitely going to be you. I don't know what he should have just said. I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
To a point, I felt like he was trying to manage the jury a little bit, saying like, "Listen, I was just being honest with you. This is kind of how it's going down." But
also, like, I feel like that wasn't really a surprise because he had already gone at her earlier in the episode because she threw his name under the bus. So it's like, I mean, yeah, like, I'm just gonna do exactly what you think I'm gonna do. Sorry about it. You know?
Yeah, that's probably true too. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was his way of kind of being like, hey, you tried to do it behind my back. I'm just going to do it to your face, right? You know, I'm going to let you know that, like, this is what's going down. And kind of a dig at her to be like, you know, I respect our relationship so much that I'm going to tell you rather than trying to go behind, you know. It's happened before, you know, in other seasons where people just play that truthful game where they're not afraid to go to somebody and be like, hey, I'm voting you out. Hey, I'm putting your name down tonight. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't work. And in Nasir's case, it didn't work. It didn't work out so well for him. So
sorry, Nasir. Let's see here. Wait, I had a side discussion thing. Oh, not really there yet. But we kind of are. Right? I think we're at tribals, aren't we? We're kind of like, unless there was something else.
I mean, the only other thing that I had down before that is, like, I was very much, I'm interested to hear if, like, you guys agree with it. Like, when Ricard was, like, off to the side, like, I just don't understand why everybody wants Heather out so badly. I don't see why she's such a big target. I agree. I don't really understand why everyone is, like, going so hard to get Heather out. She really is, like, no pun intended, on an island in this game. Like, no one really is, like, working with her. She doesn't have any advantages. She doesn't have any idols. And there are people with all of those things that you want to flush out first because they can use them later. I don't see why Heather is being seen as the big target.
I agree with you. Were gearing up, so I didn't want to say anything.
I agree. I agree with you, Gina.
I think somebody did say something about this, though. Now, I don't know. I'm not saying that I necessarily agree, but there was a comment made about how Heather is linked so closely to Erica and that everybody wants Erica out, but then they couldn't. They were going for Heather. Because everybody seems to think that Erica is like this strategic mastermind, and like,
which I also don't really understand.
I don't really know where that's coming from. But I think Shan or Liana somebody had made some comments about that's why Heather's the target. But
the one time she tried to be a mastermind and like get everybody to vote the way she wanted, it blew up in her face. What do you mean?
Yes, yeah. Erica is only still there because she smashed the hourglass.
Right.
And like, you want to talk about somebody else who's on an island. If you remember that tribal, when everything like erupted, she was sitting there by herself. Like nobody was talking.
And Jeff even said, like, how do you feel knowing that everybody's whispering and you're not a part of the conversation? She was like, not great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Erica and Heather aren't masterminds. They're not comp beasts. They're goats, right? Like, they're someone you bring with you to the finale to say, I look so much better up against this person, you know? And I think with Shan, like, she's the loudest voice in the room, which isn't necessarily a bad thing if you're voting and if you're being strategic. I think Shan votes a lot with her emotions, right? Where she's like, I don't like this person. I want them out, right? Just because they annoy me, rather than like, let's think about it, let's make a smart move, right? And I think that's where her and Ricard don't get along, because Ricard does tend to think a little bit more strategically than Shan, and oftentimes they agree, but I think Ricard's kind of realizing that like she's just going with, you know, her first emotion, not really thinking like, does this make sense? Is this good for the long game, right? Like she's thinking very short term and not like final 4, final 3, final 2, as some of the other folks are.
And we did see Ricard echoing a lot of the same sentiments that we've heard about Shan before, of like, she just steamrolls and says, this is what I want, so this is what's going to happen. And if you're not on board with her, oh, well, this is what's going to happen anyway. And it's like, she's not willing to really work with other people. It's just kind of what I want, and that's what's going to happen.
And I've been wondering when people were going to start talking about her more this way, like Ricard and Deshawn, like the way they are. And even Erica with her comment about breaking up Shan and Liana, you know, like, because I feel like every week we listen to Shan going, well, this person's got Xander's got an idol. He's such a threat. He's such a target. He's such a threat. We have to get, and I'm like, this person's got Shan, you have an idol, an extra vote. Like, you're always taking charge of situations. How is nobody looking at you as this threat? Like, I don't understand. Like, you're the threat that you're talking about to everybody else.
Yeah. I just like her though. Like, I just don't.
I like her too.
I like her too. She's just getting a little messy.
I know she's getting messy. I just don't want to admit it. You know.
I know.
Yeah, I mean, I like her. There's a lot of haters for Shan. I like her a lot. To your point, Kyle, I think she's playing messy right now. She's playing emotionally, and it's getting a little messy. Yeah. I think Deshawn's kind of the opposite, right? Where he's trying to play very strategically, but he's almost over strategizing it and trying to make bargains and deals. Make bargains and deals with everybody, right? And both of their games are getting messy now.
Yeah.
100%. 100% about Deshawn too. He made a comment in this episode about like trying to be so careful and placing himself in the middle, and I think he's screwing up a little bit. I think. I thought he was very messy with his performance in the Tribal Council tonight. Just like going into it, and then how he ended up voting and everything. Like you're trying to make too many people happy, and you're going to make everybody upset.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think Deshawn really knows what he wants to do, like whether or not like to vote with people or just kind of do his own thing. I don't know.
There was a moment where I thought he was going to kind of go along with what Xander and Evie wanted, and I don't know. Yeah,
I think Deshawn knows being like the final 2, but he's not thinking like, how do I get there? He's like, I'm going to be in the final 2, but he's not making the right deals to get there.
Yeah. There's a part of me that wonders, though, if it may not have been a good decision for Deshawn to vote Liana.
Mm-hmm.
Just for all the reasons that we were just saying, like about Shan, which is really like the same thing that we're also saying about Erica and Heather. I think that maybe that's really the real threat, is like a Shan and Liana, certainly more so than an Erica and Heather. I mean, obviously Shan's not going to say that, but like, so I don't think it would have been such a ridiculous thing for Deshawn to go with Evie and Xander.
I think he should have. I actually think he should have, to be honest.
I was really surprised he didn't.
It's just such a hard thing at this stage. It's such a weird thing, especially with what they did here. You know, Big Brother Land tells us he should have, but then like, should he have? There's really 10. It's not really this small group.
Right. Well, that's why it's so interesting how these. I'm honestly so glad that they broke this immunity challenge into 2 groups. Because we know that we have this 4-person alliance between Deshawn, Danny, Liana, and Shan, and like I'm always so interested to see like what they're going to do each week. But here you had them automatically being separated, but it was so lopsided where you had 3 of them going to one side where they're now the majority, you know. Like, and then you have Shan over here as the only member of their alliance on the other side with Ricard and who was it? Erica, Nasir, and Heather. So like, you know, it was such an interesting dynamic to me to like kind of see how that all played out. But and then there you go. Like you kind of saw it play out, right? Shan didn't have the backup of the other 3 of her alliance, and Deshawn, Danny, and Liana, right? And Ricard was kind of able to kind of convince her to do what he wanted to do. You know, I wonder if she had even one more member of her other alliance, it could have been a totally different outcome.
Which I am interested in, like, what we all feel about the whole using the extra vote situation.
Yeah, that was my side note. And I said, we're not at Tribal yet. So I didn't want to do anything. But, okay, so now that we're here, we're at tribals. And Shan obviously used her extra vote now to split it to force a tie. Do we think that was a good use of the extra vote? Yay, nay. I say
No.
hard nay.
Yeah.
No.
The only benefit that I see to it is like maybe the jury management piece. But like, is that really worth it when you're now kind of cutting ties with everybody that's still in the game that sees that you're not willing to do what the group is willing to do? Like, I feel like that put more of a wrench between her and Ricard than it did really like save her jury management.
And it was such a waste. It's such a waste of such a wonderful
right.
advantage.
You knew it wasn't gonna go your way. You know, like they were going to have to revote and she wasn't going to have the votes anyway. Even if she did vote for Heather in the revote, it was going to be 2-1.
Yeah.
What were you going to say, Gary? Oh.
I was going to say, no, it wasn't a good use. And she kind of took the, what happened?
Oh.
There's like a bit of a delay in the
there was
audio.
like a delay.
Am I good? Can you guys hear me?
Oh, yeah, now.
Yeah.
Oh, good now? Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I think there's still a delay, but it's fine.
But now that we know it's there,
Wasn't a
we
good
can just
use
wait.
of it, honestly. Oh, my goodness.
I think we're all delayed.
Oh, my goodness.
So when you hear this, just know
someone else
that we know. Go.
Fly really quick.
I thought it was a waste. When all this is over, and now she's back with Ricard. Ricard is going to be really pissed that this extra vote is not available for the team to use, simply because you wanted to do what, like prove a point, or like what ideally was supposed. What was the point of that?
Literally, the only thing I can think of is that she's trying to set herself up with jury management with Nasir, but like, I don't think it was.
Even
worth it.
Still, did it? Because then you still voted him out anyway.
Right, but like at least there was. Oh, bye, Gary. But at least there could be a piece of like, well, I tried to save you, but I didn't have the numbers, so ultimately I had to go with everybody else. But I don't think that's worth it in this situation.
I don't know. Not when there's this many people left to have burned up an extra vote now. If you do that later on, when there's like you're down to like 6 or something, I feel like that would make like a little bit more, a little bit more sense. But yeah, I don't know. I thought that was rather silly. I mean, we didn't discuss this. I might as well just say as much. I mean, Nasir and Evie, obviously, they were the ones who left us. I did think it was sad that Nasir left with an idol, though. That's too bad. That's too bad. Although I do like to see it. I just didn't want. I just
smart
didn't want
on everybody else's behalf, but like bummer for us.
Yeah, it's good. No, it's good to see. It's a good time. I kind of like when people's idols get wasted. I think that's interesting. Because now we know. Oh no, we don't know that. We don't know that. Maybe we'll wait for Gary. Now it's been customary, I believe, in other seasons of Survivor, like we discussed before, like once the idol does not get used, or it does get used, either way, once it leaves the game, it gets re-hidden. But now they did this weird 3-way
right, because of the activation. I don't know if that would still work.
Right, I don't know.
Right, because
I would love to see somebody else possibly get this idol. Like, can we just hide it like we used to, old school, and like come back to it? But I don't know. That would be very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And if that was the case, oh my gosh, how delicious would it be if Xander found that one too? Like he's just running around here with 2 idols, just be so much fun to me.
And he has something else too, doesn't he? Have an extra vote still, or something?
I think he does. Yeah, I think he does have an extra. Yeah.
I thought he might use it tonight, and I was a little surprised to see that
the extra vote or the idol.
Yeah, the extra vote. I knew he wouldn't use the idol, because he already had immunity. Welcome back, Gare.
Oh my goodness. Over the technical difficulties I talked about. Here we go.
Yeah.
It happens.
Whatever. It's fine. So what point were you making? I don't even remember.
I started.
No!
having major issues.
Yeah. I hope you're okay, Gary.
We love you, Gary.
I'm very invested in what you wanted to say.
He's still backstage, but the camera hasn't come back up yet, so I don't want to like bring him back in. I was very disappointed that we did not lose Liana. I know we said that before, but like I'm just so sick of her.
She like I feel it's so strange to me. Like even hearing her like during the immunity challenge, being like, Xander, look at his face. Look at his face. I'm like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, like what is that? She like hates him.
It's very strange to me.
Gary, please.
I feel bad. Well, I think
like the only thing that I think is like kind of fun about Liana staying around is that we are gonna continue to get them like butting heads or whatever. But I also feel like I don't know. I understand that like there are reasons why she should be kind of like salty with him because there was a whole like fake idol and like that whole piece to it or whatever. Like, yeah, I'd feel some type of way about it too. But it's also like, are your issues with him really founded in like anything worth it, or are you just like annoyed by him? You know?
No, I think it all has to do with the whole fake idol thing. But you know what? You were playing so shady.
Yeah.
Like you don't get to be mad about the fake idol thing. You should have been trying to steal his in the first place. Y'all was supposed to be Yasa Strong. You know,
yeah.
that fell by the wayside real quick.
The fact that they even had to make a fake like that, you know, like, and this was somebody from their original tribe that they, had been close to, and then she's trying to steal your idol. Like,
sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks. I am excited though because it does look like the island cookout is now already splitting up. All right, they did not make it. Like Cookout A, all right? Cookout B is a disaster. All right? Cookout B, they don't know what they're doing. It already looks like Shan and Liana on one side with Deshaun and Danny on the other.
Yeah.
That could just be the way they edited the preview. Like maybe that's not really what we're going to do.
Right.
But I don't know. Doesn't look good to me. Doesn't look good.
It's interesting, like in that next on, it sounded like Danny was specifically. It looks like he's going to be targeting Ricard going forward, right? So like that's going to be so interesting. I can't wait to see like a conversation between Shan and Danny. You know, when she finds out that he's got Ricard's name in his mouth. You know, Danny.
I wonder what she'll say.
Yeah,
I don't know if Shan and Ricard are going to be as strong moving forward, knowing that she went against the plan tonight, you know?
Yeah, I could see him being pretty perturbed with her.
Yeah.
Because
they were already on rocky ground, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, wait, did she not do what he wanted tonight, though?
No, she used her extra vote to go against the plan.
Well, but he...
Yeah, and then she eventually did.
But I think that was kind of... Because remember, Ricard asked her for the extra vote. Like, I actually think... And he made a comment like, oh, there has to be enough votes for this other person still. So, like, you know what I mean? Like,
I think that was just he was saying if Nasir happens to use his idol, we need to make sure that like, Heather is the backup or whatever, which would have been the case with or without the extra vote. You know,
but that's
unless
why
I misunderstood.
That's why I was thinking he wanted the extra vote so that he could cast it for Nasir. That's what I was thinking.
Right, but either way, she's going against what he wanted.
Yeah, because she didn't do that.
But I think that part of it was that Ricard wanted votes out there for Heather to like make everything confusing, and it ended up being a 3-3 tie, and then everybody voted for Nasir after that anyway. You know, like I feel like she in a way did what Ricard wanted.
I don't know.
Because Ricard knew that he was going to be voting for Nasir. Who else? And then who else was voting for Nasir?
Heather and Erica.
You know, so that's 3 votes right there. You only need, you know, I don't know. I think I actually got the impression that she kind of ended up doing what he kind of wanted because he ended up getting what he wanted.
Maybe I have to watch it again. I don't remember.
Listen, Erica and Heather were going to be voting Nasir. Ricard wanted Nasir. There was no reason to use the extra vote.
Right, Nasir was going to be voting for Heather no matter what. That's why I'm a little, because I do remember that conversation, but like, I don't understand what the benefit would be other than to just get rid of Shan's vote.
I honestly
later.
don't necessarily either, but I just remember him saying like there needs to be enough votes for Heather that like it looks like we, you know what I mean? Like I don't even know what he
Yeah.
necessarily meant by that, but
Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch that again because I don't
yeah,
really.
it's definitely a moment I'd like to go back to.
You got a text from Gary.
Nope.
He will not be able to return.
Oh, I have to get him back another time.
Yeah, we'll have to bring him back.
Sorry, Gary.
Aw. Well, we had fun. I guess we'll never get to know what the thought was. Maybe
Make him text it in right now.
Yeah. We should tell him that. Aw. That sucks. Type your thoughts.
Right, like text it in as a comment. We'll read it. Another thing, and like maybe I guess this is just me not knowing Survivor that well. I didn't expect that the jury is going to stick around for all the tribals.
Yeah,
like, I didn't expect to see Tiffany, and I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, but when you go to jury, you attend each one of the tribal councils, so it's very fun to watch them get like made over and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
If you're interested, there's even Gary sent me earlier in the week. Sent me a video of like her leaving, Tiffany leaving. There's apparently a Ponderosa, like the restaurant on the island. So she went and she ate, and you get to see the room she's staying in, how beautiful it is. Yeah, and a little gift bag she got in the room.
Cute.
Yeah, it was cute. It's 8 minutes. It's a long haul. Okay. I kept thinking I was going to turn it off, but she's very entertaining. So
yeah. I wasn't expecting to see her there, and I was like, oh, that's such an interesting dynamic that like the jury is in it for like the entire process.
They're in it the whole time. Yeah, really.
So fun. It makes the jury management piece a little bit more interesting, because I know we were talking during Big Brother about like whoever the first cookout members to make it to jury is going to change the way that the jury is viewing like what's still happening in the game. That dynamic is totally lost on this because you're watching it happen yourself.
Yeah, you are. It's
like
but you are, and you're not, because so many conversations are happening back at camp.
Sure.
Many
but at the very least, like you are still kind of getting like, rather than the revisionist history of what's happening, you are seeing at least a piece of it for yourself.
Absolutely,
You're getting to see like the deliberation in one of the most tense moments of the game,
which arguably I think is more important than being there for all the camp stuff.
Yeah.
Arguably more important than the camp stuff,
because so much of the camp stuff is lying and this and that or whatever. Like you're seeing like the real nitty gritty of like what the actual
it is. But some of that lying, especially in a game like Survivor, some of that is your political game.
Sure.
So seeing some of that would for somebody like Tiffany, you kind of need to see that because like
yeah.
You're not gonna see her walking in with an idol around her neck. Just being honest, so. Yeah.
Oh man.
But
you know what I so there was actually really one of my favorite moments of the whole episode was when Jeff was asking asked a question of Heather or something, and Heather was like, unless an idol falls from the sky, and she was like, cue the idol, and then he just sees a giant bug land on Tiffany.
Not a chance. She played it off way better than I would. You would have seen screaming, and I would have never been seen again.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorite moments. And then I wanted to ask you guys, because it's so funny. I feel like we compare some of the different shows that we watch and like similarities and differences and things. And I feel like it's always funny watching people playing Big Brother, trying to find like a room in the house where they can have a private conversation, or just a moment where they can get away from some of these other house guests, right? And then like, I think to myself, like, we're watching a show right now where all these people are literally on like an island. Like there's beaches, there's woods, there's all these places to hide, and then we had that moment where like Xander and Erica are sitting on the beach there, and you just
like
saw
2 feet away from everybody else.
Shan, Leanna, Danny, Deshaun, Ricard, all just kind of like saying like, all right, let's go talk over here. and Xander and Eric, and I'm like, and it's funny because, and then there was a point too where people were talking about Heather, and she was like sitting a little bit further down the beach, and like they're all in the same camera shot.
Yeah.
Like talking about Heather and how they're going to send her home. And I'm like, oh, this is so wild to me. Like, go Go somewhere else.
Right, you have an entire island, and you're gonna sit like a foot away from them and talk like that's the person I'm gonna get rid of.
Yeah.
I think it just speaks to the sheer arrogance of those 5 people. Like they just do not give a fuck at all. They don't.
Yeah.
They don't think they need to hide. You see me in plain sight conspiring against you.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? We're Cookout B.
And that's why it's so interesting to me though too about, I know I said it before, but with these groups, like you really severely cut into their voting power, you know, like it's really, really, it's crazy to me. It's cool.
It's very enjoyable.
Yeah. You can't count on that 5-person alliance. Everybody's going to vote the same way. No, we might not even be in the same group.
Yeah.
Like we might end up competing against each other to stay here. Like that's wild. I love it.
Very fun. Very fun.
I just like that because it's also so different. Like, you know, we see in Big Brother, there's like team twists and stuff, but this, like, the teams are different every episode. You get split up into these different groups. Like, there is no consistency of like, these are the people that you're working with. These are the people you're working with today, and tomorrow you're working with totally different people. So, like, I imagine so much harder to strategize because you don't really know who you're even going to be up against from day to day.
Yes, except this was like a little different because it was a double. So like you kind of had that separation. Yeah. A lot of these going forward is like a group immunity challenge. You just have like the one, which I don't always love. I have to be honest, mainly because it's too easy to just get another side out of the house. Off the island. off the island.
I didn't flinch at all. I was like, yeah, you're right.
Sure. Yeah.
I know nobody did. I jumped. Because like if you have like this alliance of like 6 or 7 strong, like you're only winning immunity for one person. It's like, okay, well, I don't want the people from jury duty here. So Gina won immunity, whatever. I'll just get Kyle or John. We don't care. Who cares? Just pick one.
Right.
It kind of just leaves that other side like powerless.
Yeah.
But oh well.
Yeah.
I say that, but that's never really the way it goes because everyone's dishonest. So it doesn't really ever go that way, but that's always how in my head I feel like it will go.
Right. Well, I mean, and that's more to your point of like, well, we want Erica out, but we can't get her, so we'll get Heather. But like,
yeah, which is what she tried to do.
Right.
Oh well. Yep. But I had nothing else.
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah. Felt like a lot was going. This episode felt very like quick to me because it felt like by 8:30
there was so much happening.
Yeah, like it felt like there was so much going on. We were like 35 minutes into the episode already, and then they were like already all walking a tribal. And I was like, wow, this is happening already. And I remembered then that there was going to be 2 tribal councils, but it's still, everything just still felt so fast because then all of a sudden,
there still was like, it was like jam. Like, I feel like I never stopped writing the entire episode. There's just so much going on that I have to keep track of. Like,
I was writing a lot, but I still only have 1 page. Like the challenge, I always end up with 3.
Oh, I still had 3 tonight.
Oh, really? Yeah, no, I didn't have that much to say. Yeah, I'm out. I don't have anything else. I have a lot of cross-outs too, and I wrote really big. Like I really didn't. Yeah.
No, I like took a lot of notes, but a lot of it was like it could all be summed up in one thing. Like I just felt like I had to like keep track of everything that was going on. And then after the fact, I was like, oh, this is.
There's just so much name dropping that like it's so hard to like not keep writing things down. I was like, I'm gonna write this down. I don't know if this is gonna matter.
Half of it doesn't matter. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially like when we think about last week with Tiffany, like. Nothing that we saw mattered. Like, so it's like, I don't know what's going to be important.
No, we don't. So what did we decide for next week? Did we?
I don't know that we did.
We didn't. Because next week is Thanksgiving Eve. I think we said we're going to skip. I think we're skipping. Of course we're skipping. We're tired. We're tired. We have meals to prepare for. Our family's coming. So should we find another time? Or just talk about 2 the following week?
Oh man, I'm open for either.
2 worst people. I guess we'll let people know on the socials.
We're gonna need some time. We're
Yeah,
gonna need some
we'll let
time
you all
to
know on the
decide.
socials what we're doing about that. But before that, we'll be back on Monday at 9:30, and we'll be discussing Big Brother Over the Top and the Challenge 37. No longer here, but thank you, Gary, for joining us tonight.
Gary.
Thanks,
While you
Gary.
could, I had a good time. We'll have him back.
Uh-huh.
And all right, like, subscribe, share with a friend. This has been Jury Duty.